I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped into the room. My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. My uncles were lined up like a jury, and the papers, thick, stapled, waiting for my signature, sat in the center of the table like a loaded weapon. "Just sign it," she said, a request wrapped in an order. I didn't sit. I didn't blink. I just stared at the woman who raised me with soft words and sharp edges. The same woman who now wanted my inheritance, the only thing my father left me, like it was her birthright. But betrayal isn't born in one moment. It builds, quiet and careful. This wasn't the beginning. It was the reveal. There was a time I believed my mother's voice could fix anything. When my father died, she held my face between her palms and promised, "We'll protect each other now." I was 17. Grief makes fools out of good people. She cooked for me, checked on me, cried in my doorway at night thinking I couldn't hear. And I thought, stupidly, that it was love. I didn't notice the small withdrawals from the trust fund at first. She said they were for house repairs. Later, medical bills. Then, emergencies. Grief teaches you to trust too easily. The first undeniable crack came from an email she forgot to delete. A message to a lawyer. Subject: full transfer of assets upon coercive consent. Coercive. Consent. Directed at me. I read every word, every attached file, every drafted plan. They'd been preparing for months, waiting for the perfect moment to corner me. Shock didn't hit me. Anger didn't either. What settled inside me was something colder, a stillness, a promise to myself. If they wanted a war, I'd give them a masterpiece. I didn't confront her, didn't slam doors, didn't show my hand. Instead, I made appointments. A financial auditor, a fraud investigator, a private attorney my family didn't know existed. I traced every missing dollar. I documented every lie. I gathered evidence until the weight of it felt almost merciful. By the time she called the so-called family meeting, I was ready. I walked into that room not as her son, but as her reckoning. They had lawyers, 4 of them, all polished, all confident. My mother pushed the papers toward me like she was doing me a favor. "Inheritance complicates families," she said. "This is simpler." I nodded, slowly. "Funny," I said. "I brought someone too." A knock broke the smug silence. My investigator stepped inside first. Then my attorney. Then the auditor with a folder thick enough to make my uncles shift in their seats. The room tensed. My mother's smile cracked at the edges. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. I slid the folder onto the table. "Before I sign anything," I said, "we should talk about the funds you already took. The forged authorizations. The offshore transfer you labeled as a plumbing repair." Her face drained like someone had pulled the plug. One of the lawyers coughed. Another whispered to her, "You didn't disclose this." They never look as powerful once the truth lands. I watched her read the evidence. Her hands shook. My uncles avoided her eyes. My voice stayed calm. "You planned to take everything, and you almost did. But the thing about building a trap," I leaned forward, "is that you need to make sure you're not the one standing in it." Fear replaced her arrogance. Then shame. Then the quiet realization that she'd lost. My attorney set new documents on the table, ones that protected my assets permanently and held her financially liable for every fraudulent withdrawal. "Sign," I told her. And she did. Not with anger, not with protest, but with the hollow obedience of someone who finally understood they'd been outplayed. When the meeting ended, she tried to speak. I walked past her. Love can survive mistakes, but not betrayal premeditated enough to hire lawyers. Outside, the air felt lighter, sharper, mine. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt precise, clean. Some people think revenge is about hurting back. It isn't. It's about correction. Balance. The quiet moment when the truth finally weighs more than the lie. And as I stepped into the sunlight with my inheritance protected and her schemes exposed, one thought settled over me like a final, perfectly placed period. She taught me how to fight. She just never expected I'd learn to win.